Welcome to episode 3 of the podcast. Today we're going to talk about goals and how to keep going higher and higher and always hit those goals. Because a lot of us, we always set high goals, or maybe we don't even set high goals, we set like medium level goals, and we always fall short. You often see this around New Year's time when everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's the new year, this is my year. Here I go, I'm gonna lose 50 pounds this year. And then 2 months in, you see them in the McDonald's drive-thru. We're gonna go over how to actually achieve goals in this video. We're gonna go over what goals are, how to achieve them, how achieving them works. So make sure you pay attention and take some notes. Before I get into what goals are and how to achieve them, I wanna talk about goal setting, because a lot of us, we don't actually set goals properly, or to the best of our ability, I should say. As humans, we like to stay safe. We don't like to say we're going to do things that we don't think we can do, which limits our abilities because we're setting goals that are so low that we know we can hit them. And there's virtually no point to that. So I want to talk to you about setting higher goals that would actually push you past your limits a bit. Setting high goals that will push you past your limits is so important if you actually want to fulfill your whole potential in life. And even if you fall short of a higher goal, you'll still land at a higher level. Because if you set a small goal, you'll fall short just a little bit and you're down here. But if you set a high goal, you'll fall short and you're right here above the other goal. So how do we actually set higher goals? Because not everyone's a big thinker. Not everyone is like David Goggins' inspiration. So how do we actually do it? So you want to operate out of your peak state. This is when you're feeling like hyped up and your blood's flowing and you have some adrenaline flowing through your system. And when you're in this state, you're also in your most creative state, which means you could set the most creative and high goals. Because in this state, you're not feeling like, oh, maybe I can't lose 50 pounds this year. No, you're thinking like, oh, I could probably lose 70 pounds this year, because you're just hyped up and you're like motivated and inspired. You're not always going to be motivated, but this is the state you need to be in to set high goals, to set proper goals. So quickly get into your hyped up mental state by maybe doing some jumping jacks and push-ups. Get the blood flowing in your body, thus getting the blood flowing in your brain. Do all this in high hopes for the future and you'll get to your peak state in no time. Then write down a bunch of goals, like your biggest life goals, your biggest goals for this year, this month, the next 5 years, next 10 years. Do not hold yourself back. Whatever comes to mind, write it down. And you'll end up crossing some off, because some are unrealistic. But the point is just to get the thoughts in the brain flowing through. And as soon as you're done writing, you've fallen out of that peak state, you're ready to start working on how to achieve the goal. So with that all said, let's get right into the video. What are goals? Goals are similar to a wish list. They're just things that we say that we want to do. They're energy that we use in hopes for the future. A lot of people say, I want to lose weight because it's probably a good idea. That's a very common goal. But the reason people don't achieve that goal is because they don't make it personal enough. There's no emotion in that. Why would you do that? Because it's just a good idea. You have to say, no, I'm going to lose 40 pounds this year because my blood pressure is too high. My back is always hurting. I'm borderline diabetic and I might not live long enough to see my grandchildren. That's really personal and that has a lot of backing and emotion behind it. And that skyrockets your chances of actually hitting that goal and beyond. So shoot high with your goals. Make it emotional. Make it personal. You have to remember and you have to know your why. If you don't know why you're doing the goal, and if that why is not strong enough, then you're never going to achieve the goal. You're never even going to be motivated to do it because you have no why. You have no emotion towards it. Okay, that was step one. So we just made a bunch of goals in our peak state. We have these super high goals that we're very motivated to achieve them. We made them super specific and personal. So how do we actually achieve them? You have to understand that your standards create your life. So if you have a specific goal that you want to hit, you shouldn't just work towards that goal. You should change your standards to meet that goal. And you will achieve that goal almost automatically by doing that. As humans, we're very comparative creatures and we don't have a choice, but we take in information and it influences us, even if we don't agree with it. Think of your brain as a blender. Anything that is inputted into it, maybe your friend's playing a rap song that's talking about ideals that you don't agree with, but even if you don't agree with them, your brain is still inputting that information into the blender. And then the blender turns on and it mixes it into something that is more fit to you. So you have to be really mindful of what you're actually consuming or what you're actually letting into your mind. And you have to be very mindful of how you let it affect you. Because what we let in our mind creates our own standards. People get goals and standards confused. Like they think they're the same thing, but they're very, very different. Goals, as I said before, are just energy put in hopes of the future. Like, oh, I really, really want this thing this year. I really want to lose weight this year. But standards are the terms that you hold yourself to. For example, if you refuse to eat fast food, that is a standard that you hold yourself to. Standards are the expectations that you have of yourself, thus influencing your actions and what you do. So if I want to lose weight, I don't just want to start exercising. No, I want to change my standards so that I naturally hold myself to that expectation that I am exercising and eating healthy and doing all the things that will achieve that final goal. It'll be automatic. So how you find a process to change your standards and set your goals, that's all going to be unique to you. There's no system that I can give you that you can just plug and play and then you'll be able to do it. Like, it's unique to you. You're a human. You have a brain that's like none other. But here's 9 components that can help you find your process. Step 1 is to understand your why. Unless you're very clear on your motivation, you won't develop the standards necessary to achieve your goal. As I said, instead of just saying I want to lose 50 pounds because it's a good idea, say I want to lose 50 pounds because my doctor said I'm severely overweight, my back hurts, I have high blood pressure, I'm borderline diabetic, and I don't think I'm going to live long enough to see my grandchildren. The more detail and deep into the emotion side you can get into it, the better. Step 2 is to break down the higher standard into smaller, more achievable steps, because you're not just going to go from 0 to hero in one step. Like people say, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. So instead of just having this goal and not making a plan for it, instead of just saying I'm going to get up and lift some weights every now and then, say I'm going to get up, I'm going to run 8 miles 3 days a week, and I'm going to find a personal trainer so I can get an optimal workout plan 5 days a week for me, so I can achieve my goal as best and as fast as possible. Now you're being specific. Now you have the specific goal with the specific steps. So unless you just completely discard everything you've done, it's going to be almost impossible not to achieve your goal. Step 3, be honest with yourself. You're probably not going to go out running 8 miles 3 days a week if you're 55 years old and weigh 330 pounds. You're being unrealistic. So be realistic, be honest with yourself. Can you actually do these things? Don't just let your ego drive all these things, because that's not what we're doing here. That's unrealistic. You're setting a goal that it's impossible for you to achieve. That's not the goal. The reason you get into your peak state is to reach your highest potential of setting goals. You don't just want to say, oh, I want to make $1 billion. You don't want to say, oh, I'm going to lose 100 pounds this year, even though I'm 6 foot tall and I weigh 220 pounds. Like, you're going to be borderline anorexic at that point. So be realistic with your goals and be honest with yourself. This isn't a motivational guru video that's going to make you set high goals and then fail to reach them. No, this video is about how to achieve higher goals. Step 4 is to get help in areas that you're weak. Maybe get a workout buddy. Maybe get someone who will go on a run with you. Maybe get someone who can help you with the nutritional plan, a personal trainer, for example. Someone that knows better on how to actually make a step-by-step plan to get to where you actually want to go. Because you don't want to be walking around on the map with no direction, with no like hard copy of the map. Because then you're just going to be headed in a random direction, and that's not how you achieve your goal in the set amount of time that you set. And be really careful who you choose, because people like your family, they're going to be your biggest enemies sometimes. And that's going to be really hard because they actually want what's good for you, but they just aren't aware of what you actually want. They know how much you love fast food, but you're trying to cut off fat. You can't be having fast food, and they're going to have to get used to that. So you're going to have to be really clear with your communication and really careful on who you actually choose to be your mentor, who you actually choose to help you. If you're losing weight, don't choose the fat guy to be your accountability partner, and choose the guy that's jacked. Number 5 is to use technology to help you maintain your new standards. Not long ago, we had these self-improvement gurus that told you to write down all the things that you want to achieve, read them to yourself in the mirror every single day in the morning and at night. And yeah, maybe that'll work for you, but we have technology now. We don't have to do what the ancient gurus of the last decade told us to do. You can make the list of goals your wallpaper. You can set a daily reminder on your calendar. There's so many things you can do with technology. So use this awesome tool that you now have to your advantage. Number 6 is to give a really dedicated thought about the relationship between the goal and the standard that you're raising for yourself. The world-class tennis players Venus and Serena Williams didn't get that good by just going out after school and playing tennis every now and then when they felt like it. No, they went out every single day and they trained everything about their technique and how they swung, where they were, their footwork. They honed in every skill that the game had, and they sharpened their abilities to become the best. So they created the standard that they always had to be trying to get better at this game after school all the time that they had. They had the standard that every single swing, every single step that they took could have been done better. And they were driven to find that better step, that better swing. So if the standards you don't have for yourself right now don't match your goals, then you're not going to achieve your goal. The actions you're doing now should naturally be pushing you towards your goals. And if your standards don't match your goals, then you're not going to have the motivation to actually do them. It's going to feel really odd to you to have to go off track to achieve this goal. So this is a really quick shortcut, and I guarantee it will help you achieve your goals. Number 7 is to forget about perfection. If you want a guaranteed quick-fire way on how to quit your goals, tell yourself that you have to do everything perfect the first time around. This will guarantee that you frustrate yourself and you give up at some point. Perfection doesn't exist. Come on. Even the Williams sisters that we just talked about weren't perfect. They lost plenty of matches along the way. And perfection is boring. We're all made because of the flaws that we have individually. We all have different flaws, and that's what makes us human and relatable. Everybody has flaws. And those who don't think they have flaws are the ones with the biggest flaws. So forget about perfection. Number 8 is don't overthink it. Thinking is good, but overthinking is not good. Be diligent and thorough. Like, for goodness sakes, get over yourself and get your ass in gear. I've seen hundreds of people become their own worst enemy because of their overthinking. I've seen so many ideas have great ideas for businesses, only to focus on minutiae, small little details, and fizzle out before they even reach the goal or even start the business. Overthinking is bad. Thinking is good. And the final one, number 9, is to set standards that please yourself. Be selfish when it comes to setting your standards. This is your life. These are your goals. It's not about your mom or your stepbrother or whoever you look up to. You're going to disappoint some people. You're not for everybody. Like we said, everybody has their own flaws, and some people will love you and some people will hate you. These things are personal, and keep it that way. If you don't, you're just going to waste time. You're going to wind up with a big mess that you don't really buy into. And you're going to be in worse shape than when you started. You're going to be living someone else's life. I love Rick Benito's take on this. Let me read the quote. Set higher standards for your own performance than anyone around you. And it won't matter whether you have a tough boss or an easy one. It won't matter whether the competition is pushing you hard because you'll be competing with yourself. So this is your life, so make sure you do not let anybody else influence your standards. If you want to lose weight, do not go out drinking with your friends every weekend. You're not going to lose that beer belly that you have. So those are 9 things to think about, but before we end off, I want to say that this is an ongoing process, guys. This is not a vision board that you make at the end of the year or the list of New Year resolutions. That's why nobody achieves their goals. This is an ongoing process. You should be reviewing your goals and standards very, very frequently. And as you progress, you'll be able to set even higher standards than when you started. You'll be able to raise the goals and raise the things that you can do, raise the actions that you can take daily, and the progress will just come from there. It'll be automatic as you change your standards because that changes the little things that you do. It does the grunt work of achieving your goals for you. And I also want to say that it's unhealthy to compare yourself to other people's accomplishments and their standards. This is your journey and yours alone. That person may be 10 years ahead of you on their journey. That's their journey. They took different steps. They had different motivations. They had different things that they wanted to accomplish. This is your journey. You cannot be comparing yourself to what other people think of you. You cannot be comparing yourself to what this guy has achieved, to what your mother wants you to achieve, because they will tell you what they want you to hear. They're not going to tell you that they lost 50 pounds because they were borderline diabetic and they wanted to be able to see their granddaughter walk down the aisle. So make sure you never adjust your standards downward to compare to someone else's standards. Now, it's human nature to compare, but I'm telling you now, do not do it. And as a little side note, when you change your standards, the little things that you do every day, standards that you hold yourself to, you're going to start treating yourself better, at least if you set your standards higher and not lower. And you're going to start acting differently. You're going to start holding yourself to a higher respect. And because of that, people are going to start respecting you. But some people, they're going to be like jealous and resentful towards you because you're progressing along your path and you're leaving them behind. You're going to meet new people. You're going to lose some old friends. You're going to get a lot more respect. And some people are going to hate. They'll get over it soon, though. Or as harsh as it is sometimes, you just have to let them go. Do not let other people hold you back from setting a really high goal. Because like I was saying earlier, if you set a goal here, you're going to land here. But if you set a goal here, look where you are now. You're going to land here. You can even land above your high goal as long as you change your standards to reach that. Don't limit yourself to other people's beliefs or your own doubts about yourself when you're setting your goals. Get into that high mental state, your peak mental state. Let your mind run loose on those goals and make a step-by-step plan. Get someone to help you if you can. So that's how you actually set higher goals and actually achieve them, unlike anyone else, as well as some consequences, good and bad, of what's actually going to happen when you do that. Comment down below your biggest goals, and if you got value from this, subscribe for more. I'll see you guys in the next one.